Marcus, how far do the Cowboys have to go this season for it to be deemed successful with all that talent on both sides of the ball?
I think a minimum of the NFC Championship, Molly. I think they need to have an opportunity to cap this off with at least an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl. And do I consider them the best team? No. I think Green Bay right now is the best team in the NFC. And the only reason I think Green Bay is because the injuries that we saw Tampa Bay suffer. But when you look at Dallas and you think about the things that they've done, and I know offense has been a struggle, but they can get hot. We've seen them reach the heights of what we are seeing these prolific offenses reach. But from a defensive standpoint, like at some point during the season, we got to stop saying this is a fluke. 31 takeaways ain't a fluke. Harry played in the NFL. Every NFL player will tell you when you have 31 takeaways on the season, that is not luck. That ain't by chance. That is the Cowboys creating opportunities for themselves from a defensive standpoint. And I think this defense gives them a real shot for 3 hours on any playoff day to have an opportunity to advance to the next round. So I think at bare minimum, the NFC Championship would deem it a successful season, and it's like a do or die situation at that point where you either you make it to the Super Bowl or you don't. But based on how they started the first 7 weeks, going 6-1, going toe-to-toe with Tampa in week 1, when everybody's eyebrows raised about the new Dallas Cowboys as opposed to what we saw last year, I think anything less than the NFC Championship would be a disappointment.
Yeah, I think the NFC Championship as well. But the only thing about that is that Jerry and that Cowboys football team hasn't been to a Super Bowl in a long time. So I think getting to the Super Bowl, if they happen to lose it, I still think they'll be okay, even though they will want to win it.
Yeah.
But for a successful season, I think the NFC Championship game. But I want to touch on something, Marcus, you said. The thing that bothers me about the Cowboys is that offensively right now, I don't think the focus is there. I need this team to focus a lot more so they can be on one accord. And Marcus, you play defense. I play offense. Offensively, you can't have one guy on a different page than all other 10 because the play can derail.
100%.
Defensively, you can have that. You can have one or two guys mess up and still overcome that. Offensively, you cannot. So I think for this football team right now, I do think Dak, he needs to grab those guys. If they need to get 20, 25 minutes more extra routes after practice so they're on the same page, they got to do that. If he has to grab them and say, hey, we need to meet extra time on our own without coaches, I think they need to do that because the brand of football that they're playing right now offensively is not the way you want to be playing heading into the playoffs, down the later stretch of the season, because if they continue to play like this offensively, the sad part about it is they're going to be one and done, and then we're going to be talking about why it went wrong when we already know why it went wrong.
Yeah. No doubt, Harry. Look, I know we're supposed to debate and disagree, but I agree 100% with you on that. I think the problem lies within two people. I think one, Kellen Moore has lost creativity. And I don't know if it's because I still don't think Dak is fully healthy because he's playing timid. And that's not an excuse. It's just a reason. He may not be injured. He may not have anything lingering. And he may just be playing bad. But to see him go from the level he was playing at the first 7 weeks of the season, then he gets the injury against Denver and it looks completely different. I can't attribute it to anything other than the fact that he's not feeling 100% or mentally he's trying to get through whether it's a calf strain or whether the shoulder is flared up, one of those situations. No excuse though. Damn it, Aaron Rodgers playing with a broken toe. They better figure it the hell out. Because to your point, from an offensive standpoint, if you are saying that we're going to go into the playoffs and we're going to count on our defense to turn the ball over 2-3 times a game to make up for the things that we're not doing offensively, you will be home after week 1. And we will be talking about what an opportunity lost. So it's squarely on Kellen Moore to get back to doing some of the creative things that he was doing early in the season. And bottom line, Dak Prescott has to play better. And he has to play more decisive. It looks timid. It looks like he's thinking every time he drops back in the pocket. And that is in no way going to benefit them when he has to potentially face Aaron Rodgers or Matt Stafford or Kyler Murray or Tom Brady in this playoff run. Because they won't be timid and second-guessing the things that they're doing offensively.
Let me ask you this, Harry. If needed, can this defense carry Dak?
That's the thing. You can't bank on this defense getting turnovers like they're getting right now in the playoffs because when you're playing guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, you just can't bank that they're going to give you the ball at the most, I think, crucial time of the football season. So you can't just bank on and say, hey, we're going to get these turnovers. Because if you're not getting those turnovers and they're completing passes and going up and down the field, but your offense is sputtering and spiraling down like it is right now and not on one accord, then you're going to find a first-round exit. And not only are you going to find a first-round exit, you're going to get blown out in round one.
Yeah, and then to your point, Harry, like if you watch film like Harry does and I do and a lot of our counterparts, even with the turnovers, Dallas ain't doing nothing with it offensively.
Yep.
Like we look at the New York Giants game and we talk about a win, and I didn't feel good after that win. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was like, that was still very average. That was a very average win. Yeah, defensively you get 4 takeaways. That's to be applauded. It's still the NFL. But offensively, when you end up in the red zone as Dallas 3 to 4 times and you come away with 6 total points, that is a failure with the talent that you have on this football team. So it's not that, and let me caveat this, and Harry, I've been doing this because we at that point of the season now. We talking about playoffs. We talking about the teams that you're going to have to play against down the stretch. That effort wouldn't have beat the Green Bay Packers, even with 4 turnovers. That wouldn't have beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. That wouldn't have beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That would not have gotten you a win. You have to get in the end zone against these teams that you're going to have to face. And Dallas has been struggling on that. I was talking to Dan, and Himbo is one of the researchers on Get Up. The Dallas Cowboys, out of 85 possessions, have 15 touchdowns. That ain't going to win you no playoff games against the dudes that you're going to have to face once you get into the dance.
They're going to tell you hit the road, Jack.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.